All right, so science page 78. We are just going to our next chapter in our book, which is discovering insects. So we finished our lesson on all the different animals. Insects are animals too, but we finished our lesson. We talked about the owl, the turtle, the elephant, right? All kinds of different animals, ducks. Yep. So now we're going to move on to our next animal, and these are different because they're really small. Most of them are really tiny, very small, and they are insects. Okay. So there are over 1 million kinds of insects in the world, and insects live everywhere. You'll find an insect everywhere. All parts of the world, there is an insect somewhere. Some insects are beneficial, some are not. Some insects are known for biting or stinging, right? Some of them are known for eating crops. They're harmful to the crops that a farmer may plant. So all insects have a purpose, whether they do harmful things or they don't do anything, they all are helpful in some kind of way. Okay? And so all insects will have 3 parts of their body. That's how you are able to identify an insect, because of the 3 parts. Okay? So let's look at 78 and let's read a little bit. So insects are animals too, and they are also very important. Insects give us honey. Well, you have to do it again. Insects give us honey, right? Like the bee. We get honey from the bee and her beehive, right? Insects give us silk. Some insects silk. You can make clothing from silk. Some insects will give us silk. Some insects will help trees and plants to make seeds, like bees and butterflies. They have something called pollen that attaches to their legs, and the pollen, they transfer the pollen from one plant to another because it attaches to their legs. But this is good because pollen helps the plants to grow. It's hers. Pollen helps the plants to grow. And a lot of insects, unfortunately, are food for a lot of animals, like birds, right? Birds eat insects. And so insects are beneficial for birds because they are food for the birds. So insects help in several ways. They give us honey, they give us silk, they help pollinate and help flowers to grow, and some of them are food for some animals. Okay? So what is an insect? Let's look at 79. What is an insect? So all insects, when they are fully grown, they have 6 legs. All insects will have 6 legs. That's how they are. They also have 3 parts of their body. We're coming, guys. 3 parts of their body. They have their head, their abdomen, and their thorax. That's the 3 parts of their body. And like I said, they all have 6 legs. That's one way to identify an insect, is because of the 6 legs. All insects have 6 legs. Okay? 6 legs, and they have 3 parts of their body. So they have their head. This is their head, obviously. That's where you'll see their antenna, their head. They actually use their antenna to smell. So that's something different about insects. You know, we use our noses. They use their antenna to smell. Then, of course, we know their legs. This is the middle part of their body, is called the thorax.
Thorax? Excuse me, Miss Wiggins.
Uh-huh.
What is the thorax?
Their body. That's their body part. So in the thorax is their legs. See that?
Wait, the leg are sticking in the...
So you have their head, where you'll find the antenna. You'll have their thorax, where you'll find the legs. And then we have the abdomen here. The abdomen is where their stomach actually is. But that's not something that's something you learn more in 2nd grade. Whenever you'll cover the parts of the insect, you'll actually learn more about like the spiracles, the stomach, all of that.
Their stomach. Now we're going to lay the body got a big spider and a head.
Okay. So that's the 3 parts of the insect: the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. The head is where the antenna are. The thorax is where their legs are, and the abdomen is their back part of their body. Like I said, that's where their stomach is, but we don't have to know that. You will have to, I will have on the test a graph where you have to identify each part, but we're only focusing on the antenna, the head, the thorax, the legs, and the abdomen. Okay? That's the only parts that we'll be focusing on. Okay? And also they use their antenna to smell and they use their legs to hear. So that's just something cool about insects. Yeah. They use their antenna to smell, their legs to hear.
Legs.
Huh?
Legs to hear.
Yep, they use their legs to hear. I know that's different. I guess because their legs touch the ground, maybe, you know, they use the sound of the ground. I don't know. Okay, so all insects have 6 legs. Now let's talk about a spider. Most people think spiders are insects, but they are not. They are not insects because a spider does not have 6 legs. A spider has 8 legs. So it is not an insect. It is a whole different category. It's an arachnid. It's a whole different category by itself. So spiders are not insects. Most people say they are, but they are not. We think they are, but they're not. So different insects. We have a bumblebee. We have a weevil, which is a type of beetle. We have a cicada, dragonfly, beetle, ladybug. Let's turn to page 80. We'll talk about more, look at more pictures of insects. So we have a fly, number 1. Everybody knows a fly. Yeah, very annoying. Flies. Then we have mosquitoes. Yeah, mosquitoes. They bite your skin, take your blood. Mosquitoes. Then number 3, that looks like a grasshopper. I think that's a grasshopper. Yeah. 4, that's a bumblebee. 5, a butterfly. 6, a praying mantis. Yeah, they're really large. Look at that one right there, praying mantis. Then we have a wasp, and then you can see the dragonfly and a caterpillar. Now, a caterpillar does have more than 6 legs, but why is a caterpillar considered an insect? Does anyone know why it's still considered an insect, even though it does have more than 6 legs? Why?
Because whenever it grow up, it's a butterfly.
Yes.
Butterfly has 6 legs.
Because a caterpillar is actually the baby of a butterfly. Right now, we talk about how a cub is the baby of a bear. Well, a caterpillar is the baby of a butterfly. So that's why a caterpillar is still an insect, because it turns into a butterfly. So just keep that in mind in case you're wondering, well, they have more than 6 legs. Well, that's why, because they turn into a butterfly. Okay, so let's talk about how that process goes actually on 81, how a caterpillar turns into a butterfly. So a caterpillar will start life as a tiny egg, and then it will hatch. And yes, it does have many legs, but that's because it's just a baby insect. After a little while of being a caterpillar for some time, it eventually goes into, so number 1, it lays their eggs on the leaf. The butterfly lays the eggs. Number 2, the egg hatches into a larva, which is a caterpillar. And then after some time, number 3, the larva or caterpillar becomes a pupa. It goes into a cocoon. And then after a few days, it comes out as a butterfly. So that's why, and it doesn't stay a caterpillar long at all. Like, it's not long. So that's why when you see them, just let them be, because eventually they're going to turn into a moth or a butterfly, because both of them are the same way. And so it's similar to a tadpole. Remember we talked about tadpoles? The mom lays her eggs, or the frog lays her eggs, but they don't come out as frogs. They come out as a tadpole, and then eventually they turn into a frog. Well, a butterfly is the same way. When the eggs hatch, they turn into caterpillars. They are caterpillars, then they turn into butterflies. So this is how insects work. These are insects, and this is what we need to know, that all insects have 6 legs. They have 3 parts of their bodies: their head, their thorax, and their abdomen. Their antenna they use to smell with, and their legs they use to hear with. Okay? And so there's so many different kinds of insects. Spiders, on the other hand, though they look like they would fit in the category of insects, they are not insects because they have 8 legs. They don't have 6 legs. So insects are beneficial in several ways. You have insects that give us things like honey, silk, right? Some insects also eat other insects that might be harmful to your crops. So that's a good thing as well. And then you have some insects, unfortunately, that will destroy crops. Remember whenever they sent the locusts, they destroy the crops? Yeah, so that's why some insects are not good to have around because of that. But there's always something that is eating something. And so birds will sometimes eat some of those harmful insects. Okay? All right, so guys, that's what we'll learn this week. Just an intro to insects. Next week, we'll start talking about the ant in particular and how the ant is a hard worker. Okay, so that is it for social science. Let's go to social studies. Let's visit. We're visiting our last two places in America, page 60. Page 60 in social studies. Page 60 in our social studies. So we have two places we're going to visit. They're both in the same exact state. But let's go ahead and talk about where we've been so far. So we've done a tour of America. So we started off in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Here, after we left Plymouth, we went to New York, where we visited Niagara Falls, Statue of Liberty. We then went, to D.C., where we visited the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. We saw the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Memorial. We went to Williamsburg, Virginia, where we saw what life was like during the colonial times in the 1700s. And then we went to Baltimore, Maryland. I forgot, we went to Fort McHenry. Remember Fort McHenry, where they wrote, Francis Scott Key wrote the song. Then we started to travel west. We visited the Mississippi River, right? Which starts here and ends all the way in New Orleans, in Louisiana. Then we visited the Great Plains, where they grow corn and wheat. Then we started visiting the national parks. Remember, national parks are parks that are protected by the government. We went to Mount Rushmore, the one with the presidents, South Dakota. Then we went to Wyoming, where we visited Grand Teton, which is known for mountains, and Yellowstone National Park, where we saw Old Faithful. I showed y'all the video, the geyser that shoots up, Old Faithful. Then we went to Rocky Mountain National Park in Colorado, where we saw the Rocky Mountains and the bighorn sheep. Remember, they live in the mountains. Then we traveled to Arizona, where we went to the Grand Canyon, beautiful canyon. And then we went to Nevada, where we went to Death Valley, which is a desert, very hot desert. So now we're going to go to California, and we'll also talk about which is called the Pacific Coast. That's the Pacific Ocean right here, the Pacific Coast. So we have California, Oregon, and Washington, but we're going to go to California today. We'll visit two places in California. Yep, California's a big state. Okay, so we're going to go to Yosemite or Yosemite. They have two different ways you can say it, but a lot of people say Yosemite National Park. So very beautiful national park in California. So Yosemite National Park is known for several things, but it's also known as one of the most beautiful places in the world. Theodore Roosevelt, one of the presidents that's on Mount Rushmore, when he visited Yosemite National Park, he said it was one of the most beautiful place in the world. He said it is the most beautiful place in the world, and it just might be. I don't know. I haven't been. I plan to go soon, but yeah. So Yosemite National Park is in California. So if you look at that page, on a picture on page 60, if you stand in between those mountains, that is standing in between what's called Yosemite Valley. Hold on a second.
Yosemite Valley.
Think about that stuff, please.
I say it like Yosemite.
Yeah. Well, in the world.
Well, it don't look like it is.
Well, you know, okay, so Yosemite Valley is where you stand. So a valley is a land between two mountains. So when you have two mountains on the side, if you're in the middle of the two mountains, it's called a valley. So if you look in Yosemite Valley, if you look up, you'll see the beautiful mountains in Yosemite that are beautiful. They have a huge mass of rock. The largest mountain in Yosemite is called El Capitan, and that's what they call it. It's a large piece of rock. It's a mountain in Yosemite. Okay, El Capitan is over 3,000 feet tall. That's how tall it is. So it's tall. Very nice, very beautiful. Of course, there's a lot of lakes, a lot of waterfalls, and a lot of hiking trails that you could go on if you visited Yosemite National Park. Yosemite on page 61 is really known for these trees called sequoia trees. So they are very huge. One of them is nicknamed Grizzly Giant Tree because of how big it is. One of the branches on the tree is like 7 feet wide. That is huge, very huge. So we're used to like pine trees and oak trees, and those are large. A sequoia tree is like probably 5 to 10 times the size of the trees that we see. As you can see on the picture up here, you can drive a car through that part of the tree. That's how big the tree is. Huge, huge, huge. And I'll show you more pictures on tomorrow of the sequoia trees. But the sequoia trees, that is probably one of the most famous things about Yosemite National Park is those trees, are those trees that you can see in Yosemite. Of course, we know there's a bunch of animals that live in Yosemite, like black bears, right? Deer, elk. You can see a bunch of different kind of animals in Yosemite National Park. And of course, just like a lot of the other national parks, you can go hiking, you can go fishing, you can go horseback riding in Yosemite. So Yosemite is not only known for the sequoia trees, but also, go throw that away. It is also known for the mountain. In particular, El Capitan is a huge mass of rock, and you could stand in Yosemite Valley and look up at the mountains. So that's Yosemite National Park. It's in Northern California. That's why it snows there as well. So let's turn to page 62. So we're going to also visit a very famous city in California. California has a lot of famous cities like Los Angeles, San Diego, a lot of cool cities, but there's also another city, and that is called San Francisco. San Francisco.
Ooh, I like this. I like the noodle.
So San Francisco became popular because in the 1800s, gold was found in California.
Oh my God.
And so a lot of people in the East decided, so there wasn't really anyone living in California in like the 1800s, right? Because most of the world started here. When a lot of people came to America, they came here. Slowly, people started to travel to the West, and then eventually California grew. And San Francisco in particular grew because of the gold that was found there. So a lot of people began to leave the East and they started to travel to the West to find gold, right? Because they knew they found a piece of gold, they could become rich. And it was known as the California Gold Rush because a lot of people were rushing to get to California so they could find some gold. And so many people did. A lot of people actually did find gold in San Francisco, and people kept looking until eventually they ran out and there was no more gold. So if you look on page 62, there's a bridge in California, in San Francisco. This is a famous bridge. Have you seen this bridge before anywhere? It's a famous bridge. If not, it's okay. But it's a famous bridge, and it's called the Golden Gate Bridge. And they called it the Golden Gate Bridge because guess what was found in San Francisco? Gold. So it's very unique because look how it's over the water, and look at the color of it. It's orange. Because it's so high up, when it's foggy outside, it's very hard to see. But that color of the bridge, it actually, you can see it through the fog. And so that's why they chose that color, orange, because it's visible in the fog. You can still see on the bridge, in the fog. Okay? And so it's a very large bridge. Took a long time to build. And that is probably one of the most famous things about San Francisco is the Golden Gate Bridge. Okay, let's keep talking about it on 63.
That is so
1 second.
far.
So in San Francisco and California in general, a lot of the streets are like on an incline, meaning they go up, some of them go down. So that's something cool. And I'll show you, like I said, I'll show you pictures tomorrow. We usually do pictures on Wednesdays, but a lot of the streets go up, some of them go down. They're very steep. So you could ride what's called a cable car in San Francisco. If you look at that picture on the blue, that's called a cable car. And like it'll take you up those streets, down, all of that. You could go to Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco. Fisherman's Wharf is popular because it is known for the seafood. There's a lot of fishing you can do there, fishing boats. You can also eat lots of seafood at Fisherman's Wharf. And so sea lions are also known to be around the area. So if you visit Fisherman's Wharf, you could go out and you'll see the sea lions just hanging out in that area because, like I said, remember I said California is along the Pacific coast, and so the water is right there. So Fisherman's Wharf, you can go there, eat seafood. There's also a Chinatown in San Francisco where you can get Chinese food, Japanese food. You could visit shops, you could eat, shop, and do all of that in Chinatown. There's a Chinatown in a lot of cities, but San Francisco also has one. So they also have the crookedest street in the world, and I'll show you the picture of it tomorrow. It's called Lombard Street. It's a very crooked street. And so you can actually drive down it, but you gotta go slow because it's so crooked. It's a lot of twists and turns, and you don't want to, get hurt or anything. And so it switches back and forth 8 times in one block because it's so steep. So because the street goes down like this and it goes up so high, they made it crooked to where you take your time and you safely go. So that's Lombard Street, is the crookedest street in the world. So San Francisco is also known for having earthquakes, unfortunately, California in general. And so there were 2 really bad earthquakes that hit San Francisco, one in 1906 and one in 1989. And earthquakes is just when the plates under the earth move, and so it causes a lot of shifting, the ground shakes, causes a lot of damage as well. Buildings fall, things like that happen during earthquakes. So I'm not saying they happen now, I'm just saying it has happened before. And it could happen, right? So that is San Francisco. So it's a beautiful city. It became popular because gold was found there. A lot of people rushed to San Francisco to find gold. And excuse me, a lot of people rushed to find gold in San Francisco, and it grew as a big city. They have the famous Golden Gate Bridge. It's orange. You can see it through fog. You could visit Fisherman's Wharf, where you could eat seafood. You could go fishing. You could see the sea lions, and then you could visit Chinatown, where you could eat Chinese food, Japanese food. There's Lombard Street, the crookedest street in the world, and unfortunately, San Francisco is known to have earthquakes. Okay. All right, so that's our 2 places that we are visiting, Yosemite National Park and San Francisco. So that's our last 2 places we're visiting on our American tour. Next week when we come back, we are going to start our world tour. We're going to visit different countries in the world. So we're going to start in the United States, in North America. Then we'll go to South America and all that good stuff. Okay? All right, so that's it for your social studies. Yes, AC, you have a question?
I show you the sea lion in my book.
Sorry, say that again. I didn't hear because somebody was talking to me.
Can I show you the sea lion in my book?
Sure.
So whenever we go to different countries, speaking different language.
No, we cook. But the way y'all probably not.
Hang out the window.
Oh, cool. Yep, that's it. That's the sea lion. So in San Francisco, you can see them sitting down. Yep, sunbathing. Yep, that's cool. Okay. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on to our reading. We're reading today.
My reading book in my
So yesterday we read about Steve and Jean on their farm in the West. What do you need?
I'm gonna be like this.
6. What do you need? Oh, okay. Hold on. I know you're not the one telling somebody that their stuff is all over the floor when I literally just told you 3 times to pick up your books and they're still not picked up. All right, we're on 87. I know, I saw.
When I go wait. I'm coming with y'all. Please don't skip me. Okay, I just spent for 6 times. Turn.
Did you get your stuff or not? All right. Okay, let's go ahead and read on 87. All right, so we have WA that says want, wander. Okay, you can read the sentences, Asa. Today is just mostly like sentences and stuff. We're not reading stories. Unmute, Asa, and you can read those sentences 1, 2, 3, and 4.
These sentences.
You got it? On 87, the sentences.
I must wash my hands and then I may eat. My dog wags his tail to show that he likes me. Don't waste this good food, Steve. A wasp can sting like a
Do
bee.
your work and stop picking with her. Okay. Okay, good. All right, 88. Okay, we have A that says agree, anoint, adopt, afraid. 7. Come read those 4 sentences. Hold on one second. Hold on. All right. That's adapt. Adapt.
To the cold water.
Books are still. Are you like for real right now?
A dog sin is not of
Taylor, do you see how some are facing the wrong way? That's why they keep falling. Why is that hard to understand? Like I've been telling you all school year long. And look at your phonics book underneath myself. You need to pick that up.
Look. Everybody check that. That's your pencil. Did you have me, Miss Blizzard?
Huh?
Did you hear me? Oh.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. All right, let's look at spring day, page 89. Words to watch for: Mr., Mrs., blowing, flying, singing, watch, pushing, wander, and done. Okay, Micah, 89.
I don't have a book.
They have one right here.
The wind is blowing. Today it is bright outside. Two boys
Whose water is that?
flying
I can push her desk right there. She could push that right there to pick with
the
you as you.
birds are singing and the birds are going.
Get your books back, put it on the back of the chair.
Bird is working.
Whose book? You have your
in
popcorn
his
paper all over
yard.
the floor. You have your
Mr.
spelling paper on the
Bird
floor.
is
Look around at everybody in 2nd grade. No one has a mess on the floor like that.
a cave.
Not even first grade.
Mr. Bird is working to build and pay.
Did she pick up what I said to pick up?
Bill will water the plants. They will watch John.
Okay, so it's a beautiful day outside. We hear the birds singing. Plants are growing because what season is it?
Spring.
It is spring, right? And so what is Mr. and Mrs. Bird doing? Mr. and Mrs. Bird, where are they working?
Working
in the yard, in the garden, right? And so Bill and Kay want to do what? Help. They want to help water plants and do things like that. Okay, 90. Elijah?
John is playing with his trucks. He is pushing them around on the grass. He is small and he can't work the way Bill and Kay can. Kay will not let John wander off. Soon Bill and Kay will be done with their work. Then they will be playing too. Kay is thinking, I like spring. All the world is awake and singing. What a glad day this is! Oh my God!
Okay. Did she give you one or not? Here, see, it's not anymore. Now y'all are starting to interrupt Zoom. I'm about to cancel that intro. Okay, so they're having a good time. They're helping out on the, with the plants and in the garden and everything. So after they are done working, what will they be able to do?
Play.
They will be able to play. All right, let's go to 94. Look at LE that says wool. So we'll skip like a page or two. Let's go to 94. All right, David, 94. 1, 2, 3, and 4.
This one, 94. My kitten like to snuggle up to me. Do girls giggle more
No,
than
sit down.
boys? Do mom
Right.
fried pancakes on the
Griddle.
griddle? Miss Higgins went up to ladder.
Okay. All right, Braylene, 95. Come read those sentences by the picture.
We're almost done with that. Penny, be on 95. Fucking happy.
Okay, Braylon.
Easy, steady legs chopping with her mom. She got a pretty good dress. Jimmy likes to play all the time. That baby is quite chubby. Tommy Oliver's. Really? That is karate.
Okay, good. All right, now the story we're gonna do tomorrow. So on the next page, 96, we'll read about the storm on tomorrow. Okay, good. All right, let's go ahead and review our language. So we learned our last type of sentence, which is called an exclamation sentence. Exclamation sentences show strong feeling. Usually if you're excited, you're frustrated, you have fear, you surprise, those are the types of emotions that you'll use to write an exclamation sentence, right? So we don't want to confuse exclamation sentences with statements because sometimes that happens. Like if we say, I went to the store, it's not an exclamation sentence, right? That's a statement because you're just telling us you went to the store. So can anyone think of some example sentences where you would have frustration, excitement, surprise? Okay, Asa, what you have?
He might tell you sentences or tell you like a sentences.
Huh?
Do you mean like tell your sentences or tell you the okay?
No, I'm sorry, I was talking to a student. Yeah, what were you asking?
I was asking you, do we give you a sentences or tell you like information like that?
Yeah, so you make up your own exclamation sentence, like one that you think of.
I have a book.
I have a book. Okay, good. That's excitement. I have a book. Okay, Cairo. I'm so happy. Good. I'm so happy. Okay.
I love to play.
I love to play. Okay, excitement.
We are going to the park.
We are, that's a statement. It's telling us something. Okay, David.
I have a new bike.
I got a new bike. Yes, okay.
I think I have one. Dave, you did one.
Okay, anybody else? Elijah?
I have a new bike.
Okay, can we not say new things that we have? Can we think of something different?
As well. New phone. That makes sense. Really? No, I have
Okay,
Oh my gosh.
I just said. Okay, Carol?
A PS. Oh my gosh. I do. I do have a PS.
He took my toy. Yes, that's like frustration. Yes. Stop punching me. Good. So all of these are examples of exclamation sentences. Tomorrow we'll practice some more and then we'll work on identifying the difference between the four. Okay, good. All right, I think that's all of our lessons we needed to cover on today. No, we've been on Zoom was an hour. All right, so y'all have a good afternoon, Ace. I'll see you tomorrow for Bible, okay? Bye-bye.
That was